Okay, y'all. So, thank God for Lee Hammock. Thank God for Lee Hammock. Thank God for Lee Hammock. He is a self aware narcissist, and unlike any other narcissist you've ever known, he helps people recover from narcissistic abuse, and he wants the best for all of us. And that is not a typical narcissistic mentality. Typical narc mentality is I'm a miserable POS and I want everybody miserable with, right along with me. And everybody I get involved with, I'm going to stomp in their head and I'm going to screw them in the brains and I'm going to teach them that down is up and up is down. And by the time I finish having sex with their brain, they won't even know who the hell they are anymore. He's not like that. Thank God for him. In case I didn't say it before. Thank God for him. He was making comments. I'm going to post the video in the description. He was talking about what was pissing me off too. He addressed people that were saying, "Oh, Cassie should have left Diddy. She should have just left. She should have just left." And he admitted, he said, I used to be one of those people. Okay. I used to think that leaving was easy, that it was simple. You just up and left, and that was it. And then after he has coached a lot of people through the years, he realized that that was not exactly how it works. You don't just up and leave somebody, okay? Diddy had, which is such a stupid name, Diddy the Diddler. He had so much info. He was just like Epstein. He had videos of people doing wild things. Okay. I saw a video where a guy must have been under the influence of GHB, which was common at Sean's parties. And dude was slumped over into the couch, face forward. He's half sitting and half slumped over, or the rest of him is slumped over the couch, and his face is buried in the pillow and the cushions. And he basically looks like he's dead. And that's what happens to you when you're under the influence of GHB. Not only was Sean on camera showing off, look at this dude, I put him to sleep. Look at this dude right here. He said that, I can't remember the guy's name. He said the guy's name and put him on blast. Okay? Put his ass on blast. Didn't give a damn if it affects his professional life or his family life or anything like that. He don't care. I'm going to give you a real name and tell everybody what you've been doing. And brag that I put you to sleep. When you have somebody who is in power, first of all, one of the things that Lee said, he's with mental illness. He said a lot of times, which is very true, he said a lot of times when you leave the person, that's when they get the most violent. That is when you lose your life. You could potentially lose your life. That's when your relationship could go from psychological abuse to physical violence. So when a woman gets pregnant, a man can start being violent physically, or if she wants to leave him. So no, it's not easy to just up and leave. And if that person, like Sean, had dirt on everybody, Epstein had dirt on everybody, he knows all your damn business and it's recorded. There's cameras everywhere. Okay? And if you are a person of prestige and, famous in the industry, people know who you are, all he has to do is release your video of you getting high or being involved with this wild orgy, and that person's life could be ruined. So he uses it as leverage. Okay? Now, when you're talking about your average Joe, well, Sean's not your average Joe. He He is responsible for killing people. We're going to put it out there. All right? He was responsible for ending Tupac. They tried to kill him before and he survived. So they went after him again and to make sure he didn't survive this time. When you know somebody has that much power, all they have to do is snap their finger and say, hey, I want this done. It gets done. Whether it's ruining somebody through putting all their information out there, all their business out there, ruin their whole life that way, or ruining them through, a lot of times he gave people drugs. Scopolamine causes permanent nerve damage, by the way. And that was a drug that was free-flowing also to make people comply, force you to do what you're told to do. So all he has to do is slip you something and then make a video of you acting a straight-up fool or doing whatever, or somebody who's married that's supposed to be straight and got all these women on them doing things to them, or even men doing things to them. You really think if somebody's got that kind of information on you, they have a video proof of what you were doing? You honestly think that's not a threat? You just gonna up and leave? Oh, come on now. When people make those kind of comments, they're just being extremely insensitive and extremely uneducated on how it works. And with the average person, so let's just take the richness out of it and I snap my fingers and things get done. Your average person never has that kind of power, okay? But they do have the power to hurt you physically. They do have the power to hurt you financially, take all the money. Oh, you want to divorce me? Huh, we'll see about that. Next thing you know, they take all the money out of the bank account. You don't even have $2 to buy a cheeseburger. And while cheeseburger wouldn't get $2, ain't gonna get you no cheeseburger nowadays. Almost $10. Anyway, probably about $5. Inflation is still raging. I've known of people that were separated pending divorce, and there was only one car, and the husband took the car. And they got kids, little kids. So if the kid has to go to the doctor's office or go to the hospital, you fresh out of luck because the estranged husband took the car. I mean, you honestly think people don't know how this kid flipped to the evil side when it's separation or divorce or you want to leave? You don't think people get evil? Yes, I've been abusing you. Yes, I've been treating you bad. That's the reason you want to leave me. But I tell you when it's over. You don't tell me nothing. I will tell you when this is over. And that's people who don't have power. That's people who have perceived power. But because they're in your life, they have access to everything in your life. They have access to your bank account because they're your spouse or whatever. And they could take every dime out of the bank account, leave you with nothing. Now you got to move back in with your parents. You grown ass person. You got to move in with family or friends or whatever because you don't have a dime to your name no more. That's another reason why people don't leave, okay? While people are sitting behind the keyboard saying, just leave. So insensitive. And you know what? Speaking about insensitivity, we're going to go there. Oh my good God, you got to be kidding me. Because guys know and have accepted and are usually sexual pigs, society overlooks how gross men can be. If you are using the bathroom in someone's mouth, I'm sorry, you're gross. Okay? And of course, we talked about when you've been abusing drugs for years, you change. Who you are is not who you are anymore. And he's been abusing ecstasy for, 20 years. And Big Homie owns his own security company. He said that he's seen upstanding, decent men turn into animals, sexual animals, because of drugs. But because society is accustomed to men being animals, even if they're not on drugs. They overlook the grossness and they overlook the complete lack of respect. And a lot of these men hate women too. So they're okay with him hating women. They're okay with him beating on Cassie. They're okay with him trying to yank her hair out of her skull. They're okay with him dropping her to the ground and kicking her and stomping her. They think that's cool. You obviously think it's cool because you sitting here making, jumping in Cassie's world for not leaving. You're overlooking everything. Everything. Everything that he's done. Every hateful thing that he's done. The fact that he's eliminated people's lives. The fact that he has blackmailed people. The fact that he has urinated in somebody's mouth and had an escort do the same thing at the same time. We overlook all of that. No big deal. But she's the bad person because she didn't leave. Are you kidding me? Are you blind? Were your eyes removed from your head and were your ears chopped off? Because I don't understand how you can overlook somebody's demonic behavior because men act like that anyway. Maybe not to that extreme, but they are pretty disgusting. Okay? They can be. Not all, thank God. But a lot of them are disgusting. They want to stick it in everybody. They don't give a shit if they catch HIV. They don't care if their wang falls plumb off. They're going to keep screwing until it falls off. They don't care. And it's accepted that toxic, I'm trying to get the words together. Toxic masculinity is not a big deal. That our society just overlooks men's bullshit. Yeah, he beat her up and he threatened to do whatever. He threatened to kill her. He did threaten to kill her, by the way. And threatened to blackmail her with these videos. And he overdosed her on drugs. To the point where she took opioids to come down from what she was high on. Don't worry about this. Don't worry about that. She is the demon. She's the monster. Because masculine toxicity is normal. They don't say that it's normal. But ignoring everything that he's done and focusing on her, that tells me that you're as sick as he is because you're overlooking everything he's done. If any of y'all listening actually love your kids and a guy did that to one of your daughters, you'd want to go get a weapon and take care of him. So if it's not okay with your daughter, for your daughter to be treated that way, why is it okay for someone else's daughter to be treated that way? You leave me and this is what will happen to you. He shot a woman in her face. You think Cassie doesn't know nothing about that? Unless she was living in a bubble, she knows about that. He did that to someone he wasn't involved with. I don't believe he was involved with that woman. Thank God she survived. But when you know someone has no boundaries, that is the most dangerous person in society. No boundaries. No cutoff point. Because of his influence of being on drugs, he does not have the ability to say, wow, I'm taking this too far. I'm about to punch this person so hard that they go unconscious. Your average Joe might want to hit somebody, but then they pull back and go, I'm losing it right now. Let me sit down and calm down because I'm about to do something terrible that's going to land me in jail. He doesn't have brakes like that. He cannot pump the brakes. And you worry about her and what she's doing? Wow. Wow. So I'm going to post Lee's video. He addressed people that are like so hyper-focused on her and she's the monster and she's the worst thing. Don't worry about what he did. Yeah, he killed people and yeah, he shot a woman in her face and, he beat the hell out of women and he assaulted them, drugged them up. No big deal. But what she did was terrible. Wow, you got it so freaking twisted and backwards if you think this way. And for those of you who are intelligent enough to know that that's not normal behavior and you don't attack the victim, that's like saying, If anybody was a victim of a crime, it's your fault. It's your fault. If somebody sexually assaulted you, that's your fault. If somebody robbed you, that's your fault. You shouldn't have been walking down the street at that time of night. This is so cold-blooded and so icy, and it's kind of scary that people would have that type of coldness about somebody else's misfortune. When I was a kid, our house was shot. There was, where we lived at the time, there was projects behind the house. A good ways back, but there's still, nevertheless, projects back there, which can, what types of people can live in projects. Not just poor people, but poor people who are also criminal types. And one day, they shot through the walls in the kitchen. We weren't there, but there was a hole in the kitchen wall. Do I deserve that? Because number one, I'm a female, so I deserve anything horrible anyway, because men hate women so much. A lot of them. So do I deserve that because we happened to live in that house? Do we all deserve that? Shouldn't have had your house there. Your mom shouldn't have bought that house. So don't know what to tell you. I mean, we get so cold-blooded and you start to lose your soul. And you have no empathy anymore. And you're no different from a narcissist. You're no different from a sociopath. And you're no different from a psychopath when you don't have the ability to have consideration for someone else, what someone else is going through. Because if it happened to you personally, you'd get a wake-up call and you would not feel like, well, I got robbed. It's my fault. I shouldn't have had my wallet on me. You're not going to blame yourself for being robbed. You're not going to blame yourself for being in an abusive relationship. I mean, you might to an extent, like I saw the red flags. I should have paid attention. But you're not going to sit here and say, I deserved everything. I deserved to get my I dotted. I deserved to get pushed downstairs. I deserved every bit of that and a whole lot more. You're not going to say that. Well, if you're not going to say that about yourself, you should never say that about someone else. She was trapped in her mind. She couldn't get out of her own thought process. She could not get out of the Stockholm syndrome, which is similar to the trauma bonding. She couldn't get out of it. She was in a drug-induced haze. 99.9% of the time. She didn't even know where the hell she was, much less have the clarity of thought to get away from him. She didn't even know what planet she was on. She was higher than a damn kite. We cannot lose our compassion for people. We cannot become icy cold, because if we do, we're no different than a narcissist or anyone else who's disordered. Because if it happened to you, you would not blame yourself. Or if it happened to anyone you care about, if you do care for anybody, you wouldn't be like, oh, well, my sister got drugged at a party. Well, she shouldn't have been there. I told her not to go. Oh, well, you're not going to do that unless you're a horrible person. You don't blame the victim. You just don't. And Lee explained it so well that I thought, I'm going to go ahead and put this link in here because people need to hear it from his perspective also. I feel bad for her. I hate what she's gone through. But I'm happy that she is married and she's happy with, apparently, their relationship is going well. She's pregnant with her third child. It seems to be going well. And he has had adversity in his life too. I don't know to what extent, but he's been a victim himself. And he's a protector. Because I've seen where he made a comment, any man who puts his hands on a woman is not a man. Give him to me, I'll take care of him. So he is not in the beat up women club. He's in the protect women club. Which I see why she would be drawn to that, considering everything she's been through. You're going to be drawn to someone who will protect you. It's just very hard to find people who are willing to protect you. Most people don't give a shit. They just have their hand out. They're just trying to see what they can get from you. But there's a small percentage of people who will protect and will look out for you and will be in your corner no matter what. They're just few and far in between, especially in today's day and age. But I just find it appalling, shocking, that people are so insensitive to. They completely ignore everything Sean's done. And I thank God they're not the judge. People online running their mouth, thank God they're not the judge. And they're not an attorney or anything like that, or on the jury, because there's no common sense being used at all. None. No common sense. When you ignore the monster and pay more attention to the victim, you got problems. You got something wrong with you psychologically. Something's not right. And those same people are the same types of people who, if you're depressed, which is a darkness in your head, you can't get out of it. Those are the same people that would say, well, just be happy. What's the big deal? Just be happy. Just smile instead of cry. You think it's that simple? Good God, help us all. All right. Anyways, you guys take care. Much love. Hope you're having a good day. And I was cutting back weeds today, and it killed me. And it wasn't even that hot out. Oh God, it's hard work. Anyway, it killed me. It's physically just, oh my God. I found a blue robin's egg, and it was recently, the baby recently hatched from it. And I seen the crack in it, and I seen the yolk on the outside, and I'm going, oh, and it was a little blue egg. It's so cute. I did see it once when I was at Stevens Lake. I saw a bird's nest that was hidden in the tall grass. It was hidden well. If I wasn't where I was, I would never have seen it. So it was placed well. And the eggs were beautiful. They were a bright blue, almost like a bright blue. And I'm going, those eggs are gorgeous. I don't know what bird that is. Well, it would be a robin. Those are robin's eggs. So it was pretty neat. Yeah, and the egg that I found today was nowhere near a nest. So I'm like, where is the actual nest? Because the egg was on the ground and there's no nest in the area. That was bizarre. But anyway, you guys take care. Much love. Bye-bye.